The road leading to Hollow Orphanage was nothing more than a narrow dirt path, swallowed by towering trees that twisted unnaturally toward the sky. Ivy strangled their trunks, and gnarled roots jutted out like skeletal fingers grasping at the earth. Gabriel Reeves gripped the wheel tighter, his headlights slicing through the thick fog that clung to the night air. "This place better be worth the drive," muttered Evelyn Shaw, leaning against the passenger door, her arms crossed, "or I'm never letting you talk me into another ghost hunt again." "We're not ghost hunting," Gabriel corrected. "We're investigating a forgotten piece of history. The Hollow Orphanage case is one of the most disturbing disappearances of the last century." From the back seat, Noah Fields let out a low whistle. "Yeah, an entire orphanage full of kids vanishing overnight. No records, no bodies, nothing. Just an empty building left behind. Sounds like prime nightmare fuel." Gabriel pulled up to the entrance, his tires crunching over gravel. Before them, the orphanage loomed, tall, skeletal, its brick walls blackened with time. The wrought iron gate was rusted shut, vines curling around its bars like veins. A broken sign hung loosely, swaying with the wind. "Hollow Orphanage, established 1887. "This place looks condemned," Evelyn murmured, stepping out and pulling her jacket tighter against the unnatural chill. "Maybe we should—" A loud click echoed behind them. The car doors had locked on their own. The headlights flickered. Noah cursed. "That's not funny, man." Gabriel hadn't touched the keys. A slow creak drew their attention to the orphanage doors. They had been shut just moments ago, but now they were open, just wide enough to invite them in. The darkness beyond was impenetrable, thick as ink. Evelyn swallowed hard. "Tell me that wasn't the wind." Gabriel stepped forward, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the gloom. Only one way to find out. With hesitant steps, they crossed the threshold. The air inside was stagnant, carrying the faint scent of damp wood and something else, something sour, like old milk. The entrance hall stretched before them, wallpaper peeling in long, curling strips. A grand staircase stood in the center, its wooden steps warped with age. The portraits lining the walls were cracked and faded, their subjects' faces smudged beyond recognition. Noah lifted his camera. "Creepy as hell, but not haunted. Not yet, anyway." Then the whisper came. "You're late." It was small, childlike. A voice that belonged to no one they could see. The sound echoed through the empty halls, curling around them like a ghostly breath. Evelyn stiffened. "Did you hear that?" Noah's camera flickered, the screen filling with static. Then, for the briefest moment, an image flashed, a dozen children standing in the shadows, their hollow eyes locked onto the lens. Noah gasped, dropping the camera as a cold hand brushed against his arm. But when he spun around, there was no one there. Noah's heart slammed against his ribs as he staggered backward, his breath coming in short, ragged gasps. He swore he had felt something, someone, touch him. The cold still lingered on his skin, seeping through his jacket like ice water. Gabriel snatched the camera off the floor, flipping the screen toward him. Static danced across it, but as he fiddled with the buttons, the last captured frame appeared. His blood ran cold. The image was dark, distorted, but unmistakable. Children, their faces were sunken, eyes black pits that swallowed the light. Their mouths were slightly open, revealing jagged, uneven teeth. They weren't smiling. They were staring, waiting. "What the hell is that?" Evelyn whispered. her fingers digging into Gabriel's arm. "I don't know," he admitted. "But we're not alone." A faint creak sounded from the staircase ahead. Gabriel's flashlight flickered as he swung it toward the steps. For a second, they saw nothing but dust and decay. But then, a small figure stood at the top. A little girl. She was no more than 7 or 8, wearing a tattered grey dress, her feet bare and dirty. Her long dark hair hung in tangled strands over her face, but through the curtain of hair, they could see her eyes. Hollow, black, endless. Noah cursed under his breath. "Nope, absolutely not." "Who are you?" Gabriel called out, though his voice was barely above a whisper. The girl tilted her head. The air thickened, pressing down on them like invisible hands. Then, in that same small, eerie voice, she whispered, "You shouldn't be here." The moment the words left her lips, the temperature dropped. Their breath curled in the air like smoke. The walls groaned, and the floor beneath them trembled, as if something was waking up. A sharp cry rang out from the hallway to their left. A child's cry. Evelyn turned sharply. "Did you hear that?" Another cry followed, then another, a chorus of small, desperate voices rising from the darkness. Some were sobbing, others whispering words too soft to make out. But one thing was clear. They were coming closer. Noah took a step back. "We need to leave. Now." Gabriel hesitated, but the little girl was gone. The whispers grew louder, like dozens of unseen mouths breathing against their ears. The paintings lining the wall shifted, the smudged faces distorting, their expressions twisting into agony. Then the lights went out. Total darkness swallowed them. A tiny hand, cold and skeletal, closed around Gabriel's wrist. And a voice, barely more than a breath, whispered in his ear, "Stay with us." Gabriel's scream barely made it past his throat as he ripped his arm away. The cold touch lingered, like frostbite seeping into his bones. The whispers around them turned frantic, overlapping voices of unseen children, pleading, crying. Noah fumbled for his flashlight, his hands shaking. He clicked it on, and the beam cut through the thick darkness. The hallway was full. Figures stood shoulder to shoulder, small and unmoving. Dozens of children. Their hollow eyes gleamed in the dim light, their skeletal fingers twitching at their sides. They weren't attacking. They weren't lunging. They were just waiting. Evelyn clapped a hand over her mouth to muffle a gasp. "Oh my God!" The little girl from the stairs appeared again, stepping forward from the mass of children. The moment her bare feet touched the wooden floor, the building groaned, the walls trembling, as if the orphanage itself were alive. Gabriel swallowed hard. "What do you want?" The girl lifted her head, her black eyes locked onto him. Then, in that eerie, childlike voice, she whispered, "They never came back for us." The moment she spoke, the orphanage erupted with sound. Doors slammed open down the hall, banging against the walls. The ceiling above them creaked, the scurrying of unseen feet racing through the floors. The whispers became screams, high-pitched wails that drilled into their skulls. And then, the worst part. Footsteps, heavy footsteps, not the children's. Something else was here. Noah turned his flashlight toward the grand staircase, and his breath hitched in his throat. A tall figure stood there, towering over them. Dressed in an old, tattered caretaker's uniform, its face was wrapped in filthy bandages. Only its mouth exposed, twisted in a grin that stretched too wide. It took a step forward. Boom! Another boom, the floorboards cracked beneath its weight. The children remained still, their heads tilting in unison as they whispered, "He's still hungry." Gabriel grabbed Evelyn's wrist and ran. They sprinted through the hall, dodging the grasping hands of the children. The walls bent, shifting and twisting like something was trying to trap them inside. The front door, their only escape, was just ahead. But then it slammed shut. Noah cursed, turning back. "Windows! Break them!" Evelyn grabbed a rusted chair and swung it at the nearest window, only for the glass to ripple, warping like liquid before swallowing the chair whole. The bandaged man's laughter echoed behind them, deep and guttural. Gabriel's pulse pounded. They weren't just trapped. They were being claimed. Gabriel's breath came in ragged gasps. His heart hammered against his ribs as he yanked at the door handle, but it refused to budge. The warped walls closed in, the whispers of the dead children growing into a feverish chant. "Stay, stay, stay." Noah backed against the door, his flashlight flickering in and out. The bandaged man loomed in the darkness, his head twitching at an unnatural angle. His mouth, exposed beneath the filthy wrappings, stretched wider, revealing rows of rotted, jagged teeth. "We have to break something, anything!" Evelyn shouted, frantically searching for a way out. Gabriel's mind raced. The staircase, the second floor. If the front door wouldn't open, maybe there was another way down. He grabbed Evelyn's arm, pulling her toward the stairs. "Up, now!" They bolted, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous hall. The children didn't move, but their empty eyes followed, their expressions frozen between longing and hunger. Noah tripped halfway up. The second his hands hit the floor, cold fingers burst from the cracks between the floorboards, gripping his wrists. He screamed, trying to yank free, but the hands tightened, pulling him down. "Help! Help me!" Gabriel and Evelyn lunged, grabbing his arms just in time. Noah's body jerked violently as unseen forces tried to drag him into the floor. Evelyn screamed, and as she pulled, veins straining against her skin. The bandaged man was moving now, fast. Boom! He took one step, boom, another. He reached the bottom of the staircase, head twitching, his bandaged face locking onto Noah. He raised his arms. Gabriel pulled with everything he had. With a sickening wet pop, Noah was yanked free, just as the floor split open beneath him. A black void yawned beneath the stairs, hungry and endless. The air reeked of decay. The children chanted louder, their voices overlapping in a ghastly melody. "Stay, stay, stay." They ran. At the top of the stairs, a long hallway stretched ahead. Door after door lined the walls, each one warped and peeling. At the end of the hall, a single open window, their way out. Gabriel didn't hesitate. He ran, but then the little girl stepped into their path. Her dark hair clung to her hollow cheeks, her black eyes filled with something Gabriel couldn't understand. Loss, pain, anger. "He won't let you leave." Noah shoved past her, making a break for the window. Gabriel and Evelyn followed, but the walls suddenly moved. The hallway shifted, stretched, twisted. The window drifted farther and farther away, as if the orphanage itself refused to let them go. "No!" Evelyn screamed. Noah reached the window first. He didn't stop. He leapt. His body hit the glass. Instead of breaking, the window swallowed him whole. 1 second he was there, then gone. Gabriel skidded to a stop, horror crashing over him. "Noah?" "Noah." A single distant whisper answered. "He belongs to us now." Evelyn grabbed Gabriel's hand, pulling him toward a door on their left. "We have to go. Now!" She kicked it open. And on the other side, moonlight, trees, the road. The orphanage had given them an exit. They didn't question it. They ran. The moment their feet hit the dirt road, the whispers ceased. The night air turned silent still. Behind them, the orphanage stood untouched, quiet, as if nothing had ever happened. Noah was gone. Gabriel turned back, guilt clawing at his throat. We have to go back. We can't leave him. Evelyn grabbed his shoulders, her voice shaking. We barely made it out. He didn't. A single light flickered on in the orphanage window. For the briefest second, Gabriel swore he saw Noah staring back at him, his eyes black, his lips mouthing two silent words, "Help me." Then, darkness. The hollow orphanage stood silent once more, and the road home had never felt longer.